Hello. This is going to be a quick guide to the Guardian Druid Mage Tower challenge. I'll go over my gear, talents, consumables, and walk through the strategy that I used for my kill. Alright, so quick rundown of the gear that I used. I ended up going with a lot of the Mista Pandaria crafted PvP gear. Like here in the head slot, I've got the Kodo head helm, and that has the 3 agi and 3 crit meta gem. For the neck, I used a Legion Legendary neck, enchanted with Mark of the Hidden Satyr. For the shoulders, crafted PvP, enchanted with 4 agi and 2 crit. For the cloak, I ended up going with a Green Legion BOE cloak under item level 50 to get the +6 primary stat enchant on there. For the chest, I used another Mista Pandaria crafted PvP piece, enchanted with the Shadowlands primary stats enchant, the +30, scales down to 11 though. Bracers, your best option is going to be the class Order Hall Bracers, enchanted with 5 agi. For the hands, I went with Siege of Orgrimmar hands, but if you don't feel like running Siege, you can just go for the Mista Pandaria crafted PvP gloves, and these are enchanted with +6 agi. The belt is also from Siege of Orgrimmar. Alternatively, again, you don't feel like running Siege, just go for the Mista Pandaria crafted PvP belt. And worth noting, whichever belt we go with, we want it to be no higher than item level 50, so we can use the Living Steel belt buckle on it. This also applies to the hands, legs, and shoulder slots for their enchants. For the legs, crafted Dreadful Gladiators Dragonhide leg guards. And as far as I know, this is going to be your best option in the leg slot, enchanted with Shadow Leather leg armor, giving 6 agi and 3 crit. But if you don't feel like spending the gold on the auction house to buy these, you can just go with the Moonchild leg guards, which are item level 36, but end up giving you more agility than the other pair. So these are insane. The only downside is you have a lot less stamina and a lot less armor. That's why I ended up going with these instead. But yeah, if you want to save some gold, this is a fine option. For the boots, I used the Sentinel's Eternal Refuge, crafted Legion Legendary, enchanted with +15 agi, the Shadowlands enchant. It scales down to 6, and I put all of my one-of gems in these, just because, I don't know, kept them all together. Alright, for rings, I used crafted BFA ring and a crafted Shadowlands ring. Both verse haste and both under 140 item level. And that is to get the Chord of Versatility enchant on them. And this enchant stays at 9. It doesn't get scaled down at all, unlike the Tenant of whatever stat, which gets scaled down to 6. So weird interaction there, but cool place to kind of min-max. And for trinkets, I used the Rabid Seed Pod and the Unblinking Gaze of Seth. I don't know. But these are insanely powerful, so if you can get your hands on these, definitely do that. It's well worth it. They accounted for a lot of my damage, like you can see here. This is the Unblinking Gaze, Dark Light Ray. Crazy amount of damage. And that's the Rabid Seed Pod. Alright, and lastly for weapons, I went with the Claws of Ursak, the dual wield fist weapons. Couple reasons why I opted for these. So one, before I increase their item level with these relics, what I did was they were item level 20 when you first get them, and you can enchant them with Dancing Steel. Dancing Steel is like a proc based enchant that gives you 30 agility on proc, and because you're dual wielding, it can proc twice, so you can get 60 agi if they both proc, and they proc often. So that's amazing. And secondly, dual wielding allows you to double dip on the Shadow Core Oil, which is just extra DPS. Alright, and as for consumables, I used the Greater Flask of the Currents, the Potion of Unbridled Fury as a combat potion, along with Drums of Fury. Kind of pop these together in phase 2. For food, I use the Lavish Suramar Feast. I believe these give the same stats as the Bountiful Captain's Feast from BFA, but this was just a lot cheaper. Augment Rune, I went with the BFA Augment Rune, and the Shadow Core Oil, which I talked about when I went over the weapons. Alright, so for talents, I went with Brambles. This makes Barkskin kind of pulse AoE damage around you. Really good for the ad phase. Row 2, Wild Charge. This is a must-have in my opinion. You get knocked around a lot in this fight, and this helps you kind of recover from being knocked, charging back in bear form. Row 3, Balance Affinity. Some people do Resto, I think, but Balance Affinity is the one that I locked in, and I think is also a must-have at this point. If only for the increase range of all your abilities. Absolutely insane for this fight. So it lets you Moonfire the eyes from across the platform. It lets you incap the boss while standing outside of his Death and Decay. And yeah, really good. I didn't even go into Moonkin form, I don't think, on like any of my pulls, including the one that I killed him on. So I did not take this talent for the Moonkin damage. Really just took it for the increased range on all abilities. And also there's another perk to it with Wild Charge. If you're quick enough and you get knocked off the platform and you shift into Boomkin form, you can Wild Charge back onto the platform. Fourth row, Mighty Bash. So this is really good in phase 2 for extending Annihilation cast once it gets onto the third and fourth one. Fifth row, so some people go Galactic Guardian, which I think can be good, but I chose Incarn, and my thought was this challenge kind of all comes down to boss damage in phase 2, and I think Incarn granting an extra 15 seconds of Berserk just gives way more value than Galactic Guardian could in terms of DPS on Cruel. But if you're struggling in phase 1, I would recommend going Galactic Guardian until you can consistently get to phase 2, because it is really good for one-shotting the eyes. Sixth row, Survival of the Fittest, mainly just for Barkskin. The CDR on Barkskin is really valuable. And last talent, Rend and Tear, increases your DPS and decreases damage you take. And those are the talents. Let's jump into the fight here. So I popped my Trinket right away just to get as much damage as possible on the boss here. Get out, hit the eye. If you hit the eyes as soon as they spawn, they should never be an issue. Drain life, we kick that. Wait for the stacks to reset first though. With the ads, pop Barkskin, AoE him down. Get ready to incap roar. Yep. Hit the eye. And we're back in refresh thrash. I usually try to get out around like 4 stacks. I don't like getting more than 4 stacks. You can see right here the boss casts while I'm debuffed, so I interrupt with Typhoon. Another nice thing about Balance Affinity. I also like putting some damage into the Infernals just to, you know, make them die faster. Just keeping a Moonfire on them is usually enough. Alright, we AoE again. Barkskin's not quite up. I think we just hold it. Oh no, we do. We press it. Cap Roar. I think we're gonna get back in there and press a Trinket on the boss again. Drain life. Could have interrupted with Typhoon there, but instead we refresh our stacks to kick that. Little misplay. Alright, and that was kind of a mistake. We charged into the boss after getting knocked and we get up to 5 stacks, so not great, but nothing to worry about really. Probably a bad orb there. Probably should have waited a little bit to use that, but because see, Drain Life's happening now. Would have been better to use that orb right as Drain Life starts. I think I just used it because I was low though. Alright, we heal, stacks fall, back in, pumping the boss. Alright, so boss is almost dead. We just get another wave of ads, so it's probably going to be our last wave of ads. Timing's looking good. Drain life goes off, we're far away, we're low, we hit an orb, stop the cast, heal up, and now we're just going to pump the boss and try to phase him. Get some Moonfires up on the Infernals too, so they're dead as Cruel comes in. And we're phasing. Now as soon as we phase, we pop Incarn, we pop Drums, and we pop our potion. We get our Thrash stacks up, Moonfire, and we spam Mingle. It's really important to sit on your Rage in this phase for Iron Fur, so that's why I'm not pressing Maul so much. Annihilate, we use 2 stacks of Iron Fur, and we're fine. Kick Twisted, and get an orb to heal up. Alright, another wave of ads coming out. They rush Velen, we grab aggro, pop Barkskin here, so we should have it rotating back up for the 3rd Annihilate. But right now it just helps nuke these ads down. Second Annihilation, we're just going to use Iron Fur.
4, 3,
should be fine.
2, 1.
Charge back in, heal up immediately. That was just 2 stacks of Iron Fur and we're totally fine. 3rd Annihilate's going to hit pretty hard though. Alright, so we have to use an orb here. Unfortunately, I grabbed the orb that didn't just despawn, so that was kind of unlucky. Caster going off, I think we incap Roar here. AoE, and we pop everything we have left of this Annihilate. Wall, Barkskin, 2 stacks Iron Fur. And we frenzy back up. Kick twisted. And we're pumping. Bash him, and we're gonna go for this orb just to heal up and be absolutely safe. Alright, now we finish the boss. Easy as that.
5, 4, 3.
Alright, so that's the fight, guys. This is the first video of this kind I've ever made, so thanks for watching. Hope it was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments or anything. Happy to answer.
He is overloading himself with power. Look out!
And there it is, the werebear, the Illabear. Looks pretty cool. Alright guys, good luck. You can do it. If I can, you can.